Let's get into some things, child. We got some stuff to talk about today, honey. We got some stuff to talk about. Hit that like button. If you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We have a great time over here. You meant what you said when you said it. Really be back, because I'll be understanding y'all sometimes. And when y'all know when I say y'all, you know I'm talking about y'all. You know I'm talking about y'all. Makes me that all these people that got something to say have been actively involved in the political process in their world. I don't believe it. You ain't gonna convince me. I know y'all love me. What's up, you guys? Sorry I was late. I know I scheduled it for 3:45. That was being ambitious. I thought I was going to be able to be home and have it set up by then. So my bad. We are on both channels. I'm on ReallyBTV and ReallyBTV Reviews. So whatever channel you are on, welcome. I need some lotion. Is Don here? You were on Jobs Live going back after the trial because we were roasting the hell out of Potomac. Pam Oliver is now called P.O. That's her Nigerian name. Who is Job? Who is Jobs Live? Hey, everybody. Okay. Sorry I was late, y'all. Come on in. Oh, JB. Oh, because I was like, who is Jobs Live? Who is Job? What's up, y'all? Okay. We getting ready to read this lawsuit, child. Britt Eady, give me a second. Britt Eady done finally filed this lawsuit that she been threatening to file for the last 6 months. But she done finally filed it, y'all. So let's read it. Sorry. So let's read through it. And I am going to, after this, we are going into members only. Not from this live. I'm going to do a separate live for members only. But after we read this, we are going into members only, where I am going to get very candid. For those of you who were in my Real Housewives of Potomac live last night, y'all know we talked about Cookie and things of that nature. So we're going to do a members only. I talked to some of my people today, and I was given permission to say some stuff. So we're going to go into members only, and we're going to talk. So you, and I'm going to do members only on both channels. So you don't have to buy a second membership. If you're a member on the the ReallyBTV channel, it'll be there. And if you're on a member on the ReallyBTV Reviews channel. So I'm going to go into members only on both channels. Okay? All right. Well, let's get into this Britt Eady lawsuit. Okay, let's get into this Britt Eady lawsuit. Okay, not Chips Ahoy Silverback. Oh, y'all aren't. Let me get into this lawsuit. And once again, shout out to Tracy, because baby Tracy has sent me this email. I woke up this morning and Tracy has sent me this email. So shout out to Tracy, child, because I ain't even asked. I was going to ask, but this is it right here. So let's read through it. Let me share the screen. What up, Cheryl Boo? Baby, Cheryl and I are going to be cutting up in a couple of months, honey. We're going to be hanging out, cutting up, honey. All right. So here it is. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So as you can see, you may not be able to see, but I'm going to read it to y'all. Don, I need your help. You know how StreamYard gave us that Thanksgiving overlay? I deleted it by accident. How can I get it back? I don't see like I don't see where it is where I can download it again. I meant to delete the Halloween one and I deleted the Thanksgiving one by accident. So please, if you know how, please tell me. You got Cardi's baby daddy lawsuit too. Who Stephon Diggs against the blogger, against that guy that's suing him. Okay. We never even read the Urshan one yet. We didn't read the Urshan one yet, but we're gonna get it. Y'all know it's Thanksgiving week. Tomorrow's my last day, so y'all know y'all might get sick of me. Y'all be prepared to get sick of me. All right. Okay, so let's read through this though. Thank you, boo. All right, let's read through this. So this is filed in the Southern District of New York. Now, y'all know the Southern District of New York is infamous, honey. It is Britt Eady versus Truly Original LLC and Bravo Media LLC. I find it interesting that she's not suing NBC Universal. Y'all know everybody that sues Bravo always throws in NBC Universal. That's their parent company. But okay, girl. It took you 6 months to put this lawsuit together, so I figured you know what you're talking about. I'm gonna just let you do what you do, girl. I figure you know what you're talking about, okay? All right. Let's read this introduction, honey. This case concerns defendants' grotesque sexual harassment, SA, I'm gonna just say SA, y'all, of plaintiff Brittany Eady, a castmate on season 16 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. In June of 2024, Eady was the victim of a castmate's brazen attempt at so-called revenge porn. Okay. Specifically, the castmate published to a group of hundreds of live onlookers, including the defendant's cameras, a photographer of a woman, a photograph of a woman engaged in a graphic sex act, and told to the audience that that woman was Eady. Mods, if y'all could do me a favor, if y'all can find the link for members only, go ahead and drop it in case anybody wants to meet us in members only. Again, either channel, you can join the membership on either channel because I'm gonna go in either channel. But if y'all want to know what I know about Miss Cookie, if y'all want to know what I know about Miss Cookie, we gonna talk about it in members only. Okay. Defendants immediately knew the castmate's behavior was atrocious and wrong, and that Eady had no reason to expect anything like it. The other castmates that were present were horrified and left the event immediately, an unsurprising reaction given that nothing similar had ever occurred on Real Housewives before. Defendants even made the unprecedented decision to suspend the offending castmate mid-season because of it. Yet, despite initially recognizing the depravity of the castmates' harassment of Eady, and in the face that Eady's repeated protestations, okay, defendants ultimately made the disgusting decision to leverage it at Eady's great expense. They pressured Eady to discuss the incident and her actual history on camera, and in front of her own mother, no less. And when Eady pushed back and invoked her legal rights, they retaliated against her. Rather than protect Eady from the harmful effects of her co-workers' harassment, defendants chose to amplify the event and repeatedly re-traumatize Eady with it. Over months, defendants traded on the graphically sexualized nature of the events to coerce Eady into traumatic workplace discussions of her life's most intimate moments, actual moments. This was not the Real Housewives as usual. It was sexual harassment and it was retaliation. And Eady brings this case to hold defendants to account for their horrific behavior. Okay. The pornographic picture at issue appeared to depict a woman performing fellatio on an unidentified man and was presented to a group of about 200 live onlookers by a fellow castmate. On the castmate on the show, Kenya Moore. Moore represented to the audience, and the audience we believed it because you said it was you, girl. You never told us it wasn't you until after the fact, but okay. That the woman in the photograph was Eady, but it was not. In fact, that Eady did not come to learn until nearly a year later. Our confusion. I'm gonna keep. You said people gonna owe me an apology after this, Don Don. Ooh, well, when I get done reading it, you let me know what the people owe me an apology for. Let me know. You know, you let me know. Thank you, boo. Let me keep reading, honey. I'm gonna just keep reading. 61. We're not reading those 61 pages. We not doing that today. Moore represented to the. Oh, I just read that part. Moore and Eady were at the time embroiled in an interpersonal dispute, and the presentation of the photograph was a classic attempt at revenge porn, otherwise known as non-consensual intimate image sharing. Revenge has as of late garnered significant attention nationwide due to its proliferation, leading to laws around the country punishing its use, including under federal New York and Georgia law. In attendance at that event were nearly a dozen of defendants' camera people who had been filming for content to air on the show and that had captured Moore's presentation of the graphic photo. Defendants knew immediately that Moore's presentation of that photo was beyond the pale, hugely improper, and well beyond the show's standards, expectations, and stated actual harassment policies. Indeed, just a week after the event, i.e., a year before they made any decision as to whether to air the event on the show, defendants conducted an internal investigation into Moore's conduct, which led them to suspend Moore from the show. Yeah, I did tell y'all that. Further, Eady repeatedly informed defendants of her view that Moore's conduct was harassing and unlawful and that she intended to seek legal relief. Despite defendants' immediate appreciation that the presentation... Hold on, y'all. Hold on. This is my brother-in-law. Hold on. Hello? Hey, what's up? Sorry about that. That was when my family called. I just got to be like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? Child, he was talking to me about Christmas gifts, child. Okay, sorry about that. You said a lot of what happened because we knew people in the room. Britt actually confirms in this lawsuit. Oh, I can't wait to get to that part because baby, Don, they've been giving us the blues, ain't they? Lord, they've been giving us the blues. We don't know what we talking about. All right, let me get to it then. Hold on. When we gonna get to the good part? All right, let me get to it. Okay. Specifically over Eady's persistent objection, they pressured Eady to discuss the incident and her sexual history with the show's producers in front of the show's cameras. They sought to gaslight Eady into thinking it was in her interest to discuss those highly personal sexual issues. They told her it could be just like the Kardashian sex tape, meaning Eady should use this hypersexualized exposure to obtain further publicity for herself. They said in sum and substance that she should get it all out and take control of the narrative because the better we get this out, the better the fans will understand and have empathy for you. When Eady pushed back and she said she wanted no part of this, defendants effectively said if she did not discuss the incident on camera, she would face less and potentially no camera time and may lose out on pay. At first, Eady relented to this enormous pressure and ultimately discussed her most intimate, personal, and sexual moments with defendants, producers, and in front of the cameras. Defendants thereafter chose to air many of these discussions to the world, again, despite their recognition that Moore's conduct was beyond the show's standards, expectations, and policies. All while defendants continually rejected Eady's efforts to investigate the incident herself, even refusing to allow her to see the photograph that Moore presented, which would have revealed to Eady that the photograph was not even her, and that if it was a deep fake. So she's saying that's why she didn't know all this time, because she said that they wouldn't even let her see the picture. Wow. But that also lets me know, though, that there are pictures of you, Eady, because why would you think so? Because if somebody said, I got pictures of you giving a man fellatio, I would tell you the hell you do. I would tell you, no, you don't. Because I know ain't no pictures floating around of me giving nobody no fellatio. But the fact that you questioned and thought it was you makes me think that you got, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can, listen, if you and your man take pictures and do what y'all do, but it does make me think that you thought that it was a possibility. Okay. All right, no problem. No problem. Then defendants twisted the knife in another grotesque display of sexual harassment and retaliation. They told Eady that they were planning to invite Moore back to the show for the following season, and that if Eady herself wanted to be on the show next season, it would mean that she would have to go do it alongside of Moore, her harasser. Enough was enough. Shortly thereafter, Eady announced that she would not be returning to the show. No one would dispute that the Real Housewives franchise trades on drama, and often highly interpersonal drama, but has never traded on this type of graphic sexual drama before, for obvious reasons. It is disgusting, beyond the pale, and illegal. No one signing up to appear on the Real Housewives would expect it, and Eady certainly did not. Defendants have no immunity from sexual harassment and anti-retaliation prohibitions, and their conduct unquestionably fits within them. Eady brings this action under those laws, and the law prohibiting intentional infliction of emotional distress, breach of contract, and negligence to hold defendants accountable for their unlawful and unjustifiable actions. All right, that's jurisdiction and venue. Those are the parties involved. We know all of that. Okay, so NBC Universal is a part of the parties involved. Okay, cool. Statement of facts. Okay, let's get it. And y'all know that the statement of facts, some of it's going to overlap with what we already said, but let's get into it. The Real Housewives is a franchise. Okay, I'm not reading all of that. We know what it is. Okay, we know all of this. We got that. We hear that. Okay, well, I'm not reading the history of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Okay. Prior to her appearance on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Eady was a prominent and successful businesswoman in Atlanta. She previously modeled and appeared in music videos, and at all relevant times ran an insurance business for high-end luxury clients and coached others in the insurance industry. In 2021, a friend of Eady's who had appeared on a different Housewives franchise referred her to a casting director. Eady had rarely, if ever, watched Atlanta, but was familiar with the premise and had heard of many of the cast members. Eady had multiple calls with the casting director and representatives from Atlanta's casting agency, but was initially told that the agency would not move forward with the casting process because she was too young. 2 years later, however, in August of 2023, a different casting agent contacted her by text about the potential of auditioning for Atlanta. The casting agent's outreach to Eady was unsolicited. At that time, Eady decided she did not want to appear. In August of 2023, Eady replied to the casting agent and stated that it was not a good time for her to appear on the show because she was just starting a business and was very wary of the potential for bad press and reputational damage. And in November 2023, the same casting agent again reached out to Eady and asked if she was interested. At that time, she agreed to participate in the casting process. The casting agent's name was Deanna Von Makowskowitz, the casting director for Real Housewives of Atlanta. On information and belief, Vaughn was at all relevant times an employee or agent of Divergent Content, a casting and development company that specializes in unscripted content, including reality television. All right. Okay, they were working as an agent to make representations to potential participants about the show, including the associated talent contracts. Okay. We don't care about none of this. She was in an interview. Okay, she was nervous about appearing on the show. Okay, fine. Okay, she was selected to move forward. Okay, I don't care about none of this. She's just going through her whole process of how she got on the show. We don't care. Again, she's still going through the... Okay, now she's going through the chemistry test. All right, let's see if anything interesting with the chemistry test. Based on the breadth of the releases in the chemistry test agreement, Eady was concerned that she would be signing away any protection she had against being intentionally harmed in the filming of the chemistry test or having her privacy violated beyond any reasonable expectation. Okay, in February 2021, Vaughn texted Eady to check in. Eady responded saying, "Hey, still talking with my husband, not looking good right now because of release." Malkowitz responded, "Britt, don't make the appearance release your hill to die on." Britt responded, "You have seen a copy of the release?" Malkowitz responded, "I have. It's pretty standard and everyone has signed it to appear on camera." Malkowitz also stated, "Keep in mind the appearance release is not the actual contract for being on the show." The next day, Malkowitz reached out again to text and wrote, "Need to know where you stand by noon tomorrow, so keep me posted." Okay. She said, "I'm not comfortable with signing that release due to giving up all my rights, so I understand that if it forfeits my opportunity to be on Atlanta, if anything changes with a new release, let me know. If not, I totally understand. I just know in my heart, I know better than signing that contract." Okay. Vaughn requested to speak to Eady on the phone, to which Eady agreed. What this guy... I mean, I guess she's trying to say that she had reservations and she was pressured into this. I mean, in or around March of 2024, Eady was officially offered a role on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. After she was offered the role, she sent a draft of talent agreement. Eady and her attorney reviewed it carefully, informing a producer, "My attorney and myself have already reviewed and gone through everything." Girl, this is why this 61 pages long, because all of this is... I mean, why? What? Okay, so this is what she's trying to bring up. So let's just get to this. The talent agreement also included specific provisions covering defendant Truly's commitment to anti-discrimination, anti-harassment, anti-retaliation policies. So she's basically saying that all of these things, that these things were outlined in this policy as it relates to harassment. Let me pause and come to the chat. There were things in that agreement that she's saying basically they could use her nude pictures, etc., which is why she was nervous to sign. But I don't mean no harm, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm... Y'all tell me. To me, that makes her sound... Again, it makes me feel like you had shit floating around out there, because what? Like, again, that wouldn't be something that's on my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody gives me an opportunity to do something and I sign a release, the thought in my mind wouldn't be, "Oh, well, what about them nude pictures?" Like, so I don't know. I mean, y'all understand what I'm saying? Like, why? I don't know. And don't get me wrong, again, you have every right, as a woman, man, whoever, you have every right to take nude pictures of yourself. I ain't saying you can't do it, but it's just interesting to me, like, this was something that was on your mind like that. I don't know. I'm gonna keep reading though. I'm gonna keep reading. She signed a talent agreement on April the 19th. On May 10th of 2024, 3 days before filming began, the director, Jacob Halagine, director of business and legal affairs, sent Eady and each other castmate an email titled Truly Original, Anti-Violence and Anti-Harassment Policies. The body of this email read in part, "Hi ladies, please review Truly's respect to the workplace policy and talent legal guidelines before filming resumes on Atlanta." Attached to the email was a document referred to as the talent agreement entitled Truly Original LLC respects the workplace policy. This policy outlined a series of robust and specific commitments from defendant to avoid sexual harassment and retaliation, including the following. And again, she has this included. It says harassment is prohibited. And then it explains harassment is a type of discrimination that includes conduct that creates a disrespectful, intimidating, hostile, degrading, or offensive work environment. And then, of course, it goes on further. And then it says retaliation prohibited. Excuse me. And it goes on to define retaliation. Okay. Just days before filming, Cox again told Eady that this season, Atlanta will be glamorous, emphasize fashion, and have a fun Sex in the City meets Selling Sunset vibe with less drama. Okay. Kenya Moore and the Real Housewives of Atlanta castmate, in a classic attempt at revenge, Korn sexually harasses Eady by publishing a graphic picture. Okay. On May 13th, filming for season 16 began. During filming, Eady developed an interpersonal dispute with a longtime cast member, Kenya Moore. On information and belief, Moore had signed the same agreement. Okay, yes, I'm sure. Except that her rate of pay was higher due to her tenure. On information and belief, Moore began to develop a concept for a new hair salon she wanted to open in Atlanta. She used her platform to promote and launch the salon. Specifically on June the 6th, Eady, the producers, the film material during the opening of her salon. Okay. The salon qualifies as a featured artist business under Section 6BIA of her talent agreement, which meant that if the business achieved a certain amount of revenue, Moore would be required to pay the network a portion of that revenue. On information and belief, the salon event occurred on the premises and was an event for which Moore owned and or controlled all such access rights, and therefore, under terms of Moore's talent agreement, she irrevocably granted the network access to include, without limitation, permission to film and otherwise make recordings in and of the salon event. The event was described to cast members. Good gosh, now it's my sister calling me. Hold on, y'all. Hello? Yes. Okay. So who gonna bring mommy? Okay. I mean, I figured you was gonna bring mommy because y'all did together, but okay, no problem. No, if you have a hair appointment, that's fine. Monique, I gotta go. I'm on live. Bye. So I was wrong. We're going to see Wicked next Friday. So I bought the tickets. I put in the group chat. The tickets are for 3:00. Y'all want to know what my sister just called me and asked me? Yeah. So y'all got the tickets for 3:00. Girl, didn't you see it in the group chat? All right, moving right along. Yeah, exactly. Don. They did. I don't believe that they told her that Kenya was coming back. That I just don't believe that. Because they still haven't. I don't believe that. I don't believe that they said Kenya was coming back. They didn't even invite Kenya to the reunion. I don't believe that they said Kenya. I don't believe they said her that. Because here's the thing: if they told her that, then why isn't Kenya back? Anyway, the salon event was described to the cast members as an all-cast event, which meant that every cast member was required to attend. Moore also invited various members of the media to attend the event, including gossip bloggers, prominent gossip bloggers. Let me be clear. Defendants required Moore to submit a guest list in advance, and had the power to approve or decline any proposed guests on the list, meaning that the defendants knew and approved of the presence of these additional members of the media. Prior to the salon event, Eady expressed to the producers that she did not want to attend because of the interpersonal conflict that had developed between herself and Moore. Eady believed that her attendance at the event would cause an unwanted escalation of tension. In response, Shane Humphrey, a producer, had an argument with Eady in Eady's home and told Eady in sum and substance that it was her job to attend the event and it was mandatory and she did not have a choice. Eady in response said that she was not ready for the drama. The salon event would entail that she felt like it was a setup and that she was terrified that her attendance at the salon event would cause tension to escalate further. Y'all, y'all, y'all. I just feel like your narrative is trying to fit what happened instead of the other way around. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But go ahead. Let me keep reading. Humphrey responded, okay. Now I do believe that. I believe they told her she had to come. Because we know that all cast events, the expectation is that you come. Like, I do believe that. And I believe that they told Kenya she had to invite her. Because again, all cast events, it's expected. That's why on these shows, we'd be like, why would they invite so-and-so? They know they're not getting along with them. Because it's an all cast event and they had to. And what I was told is that if you want to be reimbursed, because, you know, production pays for the events or a percentage of the event. And if everybody is not invited, then production won't pay for it. So, but I don't know if that's true, but that's what I was told. Eady, okay. Humphrey responded in sum and substance that it did not matter how Eady felt if it was not on camera. Prior to the event, Eady also spoke with Human Resources, who advised her in sum and substance that it was possible that Moore would do something to embarrass Eady at the event, but that Eady should go anyway and leave quickly. Okay. Despite the conflict between Eady and Moore, defendants required Eady to appear at the salon event and represented to Eady that she would be fired if she did not attend. Now, again, I do believe they told her she had to come. Now, I don't know about them firing her, but I do believe they told her she had to come. Each cast member was required to wear a microphone. Well, we know that. Okay. Also present at the event were numerous and other employees of Bravo, including at least one director, multiple operators for approximately 10 cameras that recorded various angles and spaces at the event. In total, approximately 200 people attended this live event, including cast members, cast members of Atlanta, their families and friends, and other employees or representatives of the defendants. Eady arrived at the salon event at the time scheduled by the defendant and then left shortly thereafter. After Eady left the salon event, Moore began to give a speech to the event's attendees. Rather than focus her speech on the salon that she was opening, however, Moore unusually focused her comments on Eady, making a variety of statements about Eady, including false and derogatory statements about her profession, character, and personal sexual history. Moore displayed poster boards with an S, which we told y'all, which included shocking and derogatory accusations about Eady, certain actual photographs of Eady, and as alleged further below, at least one explicit photograph that was purported to depict Eady, but in reality did not. Moore stated, I did some research and I found out who this bitch is, suggesting that the statements that would follow were facts that had been discovered by Moore. Moore also stated that she had private investigators research Eady and that she was showing what they had found. Moore then displayed 4 poster boards concerning Eady. One of the poster boards contained a text reading, "Who is this hoe?" and contained several photographs depicting Eady. Moore pointed to each photograph on his poster board and stated, Britt Eady is her name. It's the same girl. Moore also referred to Eady as a trap hoe video hoe, implying that Eady was currently or formerly engaged in prostitution. Eady has never, As the crowd watched, Moore continued to make false accusations, stating Brittany does escort and she charged $1,400 per appointment. As stated above, those statements were false because Eady has never engaged in prostitution. More erroneously, however, Moore then displayed a poster board that contains several photographs of Eady in revealing outfits, and in that instance, that is the center of this lawsuit, a graphic photograph. Specifically, we got that. Although the woman's face, Moore represented to the crowd that Eady was the woman depicted in the explicit photograph. In reality, however, the photograph did not depict Eady, but instead depicted a different unknown woman performing. Upon information or belief, Moore knew or should have known that the photograph did not depict Eady. Moore's conduct violated defendants' harassment policies, which prohibits displaying or distributing sexually suggestive or derogatory objects, pictures, cartoons, or posters, or any such items. Moreover, the foregoing conduct of Moore constituted at the minimum an attempt to violate the revenge porn laws of Georgia, and he gives the statute prohibition on nude or sexually explicit electronic transmission, and they give the statute. On information and belief, Moore's entire speech at the salon, as well as images on all of the poster boards that Moore displayed, were captured on the cameras and that the defendant used to film the event. On information and belief, Moore did not exhibit any similar conduct toward any male employees or defendants. Moore's actions were in furtherance of the business of the defendants because Moore acted to create a spectacle and drama at an event that was filmed for the use of Atlanta RHOA, which was routinely encouraged and sought after by the defendants. Moore's actions were there in the scope of her employment. After Moore displayed the poster board that contained the photograph, multiple other cast members and attendees of the salon event expressed strong disapproval of Moore's actions. And she goes on to tell us what everybody said. We know what they said. The salon event ended early and immediately after Moore demonstrated the photo due to Moore's shocking behavior. The shock expressed disapproval and immediate departure of other castmates demonstrate that none of those castmates expected this type of behavior to occur during their employment. Cast member Kelly Farrell approached Eady in the parking lot of the salon to tell her what happened. She and Eady sat in the car and did not allow the cameras to follow them. In the privacy of the car, Farrell stated that Moore had shown the photographs. Eady asked Farrell for more detail, but Farrell stated that she had left soon after the photograph was shown and did not get a good look. Farrell was mistaken that the photo was Eady. After two producers approached Eady and apologized for Moore's conduct, Eady left the location before the other cast members exited the salon. Based on the representation of Farrell and the producers, Eady believed that the explicit photo depicted her. Eady currently does not have knowledge of how Moore obtained the photographs she displayed and the false information that she disseminated. However, prior to the event, defendant truly possessed knowledge of false rumors concerning Eady's sexual history that has circulated on the internet. Following the incident, Eady specifically and immediately reported Moore's harassing behavior to the defendants. Indeed, on June the 7th of 2024, the day after the salon event, Eady texted Atlanta producers the statutory language about Georgia's revenge porn law, and later that day texted those same producers, "Now I need to know everything that was on those posters for legal reasons." That day, defendant Truly executives, including Houghton Lewis, Cox, and Humphrey, called Eady to discuss the incident. Upon information and belief, Houghton, Lawson, and Cox called from their New York offices while Humphrey was in Atlanta. During the call, Eady was distraught and emotional. She asked what the producers were going to do about what happened to her. They said they were going to investigate the incident and get it handled. Cox apologized for the incident and said that Eady could take off as much time as she needed. She had no idea what Moore had planned. Humphrey stated that she had no more idea what Moore had planned. Eady was skeptical because Humphrey knew that Eady did not want to attend the salon event, and she had pushed her to go. On that call, Eady asked to see photographs, the photographs that Moore had displayed, but she said it was too soon and that they would have to review the footage and investigate. Soon after that incident, Eady had seen posts on Instagram and other social media sites discussing the incident. Bloggers and media organizations began contacting her for comment on the story. Eady was also the subject of targeted harassing comments on social media. Additionally, the online rumors were fueled by the post of the cast member Drew Sidora, who generally confirmed in a post on Twitter about the incident at the salon event. During the call the day after the event, Eady reported about these online posts, media outreach, and harassment she had received, as well as Sidora's posts. Soon after the salon event, an audio recording taken of the event leaked, allowing Eady to hear exactly what Moore had said during the event. Defendants reviewed footage of Moore's speech and the poster board she displayed and conducted an investigation. Within a week of the incident, defendants suspended Moore from filming due to her presentation of the pictures. Indeed, on or around June 14th, well before any episode of season 16 had aired, a source associated with Real Housewives of Atlanta made the following statement to Entertainment Tonight, quote, Kenya was suspended for allegedly depicting Brittany performing a sexual act at the grand opening of her Kenya Moore Hair Spa in Atlanta. From images allegedly found online, the network is still reviewing the content Kenya displayed during filming, end quote. As she previewed the day after the incident, in the weeks and months that followed, Eady repeatedly told the show's producers that she intended to seek legal relief concerning Moore's sexual harassment and illegal use of revenge porn against her. And I told y'all that. Did I not tell y'all that she was telling them people she was going to sue? Hey, Cam's boo. Didn't I tell y'all she was telling them people she was going to sue? People was like, well, why? I said, because I told y'all that she said she was going to sue. Defendants knew Moore's presentation of that photograph was not just potentially illegal, but also beyond the bounds of the show, their own internal rules, and the expectations of its participants and fans. As Moore confirmed in a YouTube video she posted on April 19th of 2025, Moore was forced to engage a local attorney to seek legal advice about her actions, and in particular, whether they violated the laws. Cox Insurance, the day after the salon event, that Eady could take as much time off as after the event as she needed. Only 2 or 3 days later, Humphrey began calling Eady and telling her she needed her back at work. They could not be paid if she did not resume filming. During this time, 2 other castmates had informed Eady that defendants had been filming them discussing the incident at the salon event. Due to the significant time commitment demanded from her during the filming, Eady did not have time to focus on her other businesses, and her only significant source of income at that time was her per episode pay for Atlanta. Eady did not want to resume filming to discuss the incident on camera, but she repeatedly and persistently pressured defendants to do so. Producers encouraged Eady to be as emotional as possible and to get it all out on camera, meaning to discuss the incident at the salon event in detail. The producers encouraged Eady to take control of the narrative by discussing the incident and said, in sum and substance, the better we get this out and the better the fans will understand they have empathy for you. Cox compared the situation to the Kim Kardashian tape, meaning that Eady could use this event for positive publicity. Despite encouraging Eady to discuss the incident on camera, defendants did not inform Eady that the explicit photograph did not depict her, nor did they allow Eady to view the photograph that Moore had displayed. In other words, defendants allowed her to believe that it was her, which it did not. Okay. In the face of this pressure, Eady repeatedly and consistently told the defendants that she was not comfortable discussing the incident from the salon event. Eady also confirmed Cox and Humphrey that she found it extremely difficult to discuss the incident in front of her family. Defendants, however, coerced Eady into discussing the photograph and the incident on camera. Not only did they collectively pressure her into thinking it was her in her best interest to do so, but they also effectively told her she would get little to no camera time and potentially no payment if she did not do so. Faced with this immense and coordinated campaign, Eady ultimately gave in to the pressure to discuss the incident. During Eady's first filming the day after the salon event, which came after several days of defendants pressuring Eady to discuss the incident despite her protestations, producers employed by defendant Truly filmed Eady discussing the event with her husband and Pharrell. On camera, Eady discussed the public reaction to the incident, stating, "I have had all of Kenya's minions, my friends, my colleagues, my business partners DMing me. I've been getting texts. Moore doesn't even realize the damage she has caused." Because Eady was falsely led to believe that the explicit photograph depicted her, and because of pressure from producers, Eady was also forced to discuss her sexual history and to do so on camera. The producers also orchestrated a conversation between Eady and her mother on the same day, which was filmed. The producers pressured Eady to speak to her mother about the incident at the salon, and by doing so, discuss her sexual history with her mother on camera during an extremely sensitive and vulnerable time. Eady also discussed on camera the emotional and psychological effects that the public response to the incident had caused, stating, "This ordeal has definitely taken a toll on my mental health, 100%. Every time I get on social media, there's an article on this. Everything when you Google my name is now this situation. You can remove what's now on the internet. You can't remove what's now on the internet. So I'm going to have my guard up because I just don't know what to expect from this group of ladies." During this period, Eady repeatedly had sessions with one of the defendant's psychiatrists, Dr. Alyssa Herbosh, to discuss the trauma of the salon event. After Eady restarted filming, Eady tried to learn more from the crew members about what exactly Moore had shown with the poster boards. On set, Eady asked Cox if she could see the footage from the event showing poster boards Moore had displayed. Cox responded that that footage was property of Bravo and that she could not show it to Eady. Cox's assertion was non-consensual because Eady was a subject to a confidentiality agreement and because provisional versions of episodes and content were routinely shared with Real Housewives of Atlanta participants prior to airing. On information and belief, the crew members had also been instructed not to substantially discuss the incident at the salon event with Eady. On set, Eady asked crew members if they had captured footage of the poster boards. In response to Eady's questions, crew members would say only that they stopped filming before Moore brought out the poster boards. Why did she have them contact her lawyer when they were pressuring him? Good question. I don't know. All right. Excuse me. These statements were obviously nonsensical and false, perhaps shown most clearly by the fact that defendants ultimately aired certain footage of the poster boards in the episodes they aired the following year, which is true. Both during filming and in moments of privacy, Eady's castmates continued to discuss the incident at the salon with her. In late June, after filming of an episode on location in Nashville, a cast member told Eady that another cast member, Sadora, had given Moore the information used on the poster boards. On information and belief, this conversation was not filmed. As alleged below, defendants again forced Eady to discuss that incident at the salon months later while filming confessional segments after the main taping of the series ended. On information and belief, despite Eady's clear anguish from the salon event, the protestations about Moore's sexual harassment, defendants encouraged and facilitated other castmates to make unwanted, highly offensive, and sexually explicit comments to Eady on camera. On or around June 18th of 2024, castmate Drew Sidor asked Eady, "Did you ever tell it?" The cat referring to prostitution. Oh, did you ever sell it? Excuse me. The cat referring to prostitution. On or around July the 5th, castmate Angela Oakley told Eady that she had stretch marks and I'm sorry, y'all, but that read is still funny. I don't care. I don't care. That read is still funny. She told that lady she had stretch marks around her mouth. I'm sorry. That's still funny. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. Shamia Morton reportedly called Eady a whore. These comments violated, among other things, defendant's workplace policy. On information and belief, but child, if we now they always calling each other some whores, but I understand in connection with the pictures, that's not a good thing. Defendants took no remedial action against these castmates. Harassment of Eady or sexual harassment of Eady. Real Housewives of Atlanta confessional segments were filmed between September and March, September 2024 and March of 2025. All confessionals were filmed at a studio in Atlanta. During the filming of confessionals, producers would request that cast members discuss the events of each episode as though they had just happened to give the impression that the confessionals were filmed contemporaneously with the rest of the series. During the filming of confessionals, producers will also give cast members information and details that they had not had before in order to prompt a response. Despite Eady again saying to the producers in no uncertain terms that she did not want to further discuss the incident at the salon, during these confessionals, she was pressured into discussing the incident and to be as emotional as possible about the incident and to reference her sexual history during these segments. Eady again gave into pressure because she did not want to lose her job at the Real Housewives of Atlanta or lose her opportunity to receive bonuses. On information and belief, the beginning of filming on March 9th of 2025, defendant Bravo edited the footage obtained from filming of the cast to produce episodes of Atlanta. The 16th season premiered on March the 9th of 2025. On information and belief, defendant Bravo was responsible for all decisions regarding editing of the episodes, creating and distributing advertisements for the series, and the ultimate airing of the episodes. Each episode of Atlanta or each advertisement for Atlanta is edited in and broadcast from New York City. Prior to the premiere, defendants produced and released promotional material for the new season that referenced the incident at the salon to stir up drama and to titillate views. For example, on January 30th of 2025, Bravo posted a video on his YouTube channel titled Sneak Peek, Your First Look at Atlanta Season 16. The video included a depiction of Moore at the salon event, displaying a poster to guests saying, "Who is this hoe?" And Britt, Eady is her name, followed by shots of guests at the event gasping. Okay, we know all of this, child. We know they teased it. Okay. The premiere season 16 introduced Eady by making reference to one of the most humiliating aspects of the aftermath of the salon event. Specifically, while other cast members were introduced by references to their marriages and friendships, the first line spoke by Eady that was used on the show was, "All in a split second, everything changed. Now I have to talk about that fucking dick with my mother." Damn. Okay. That's okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. On April the 7th of 2025, episode 5 aired, and it was the salon event. Okay. All right. We know all of this already. Oh, Lord, they got pictures. Well, that's a still from the episode, honey. Okay. We know all of this, child. We watched the show. We don't need to read line by line everything that happened on that episode. During the week of April the 7th, Eady was required by defendants to travel to New York to appear on Watch What Happens Live, a show broadcast on Bravo in which cast members of Bravo's reality shows and franchises discuss recent episodes with producer Andy Cohen. During the 3 days she was required to be in New York City, Eady also did interviews with New York City-based media outlets pursuant to Bravo's scheduled itinerary. While Eady was in New York, producers, including Cox and Barsaw, invited Eady to have dinner with them privately. While at dinner, Eady again asked Cox and Barsaw, if she could see the actual footage depicting the poster boards Moore had displayed. They replied that they thought they could make it happen, but did not indicate that they would take any steps to show her the photographs. In fact, despite Eady's repeated requests to the defendants to see the photograph displayed at the salon event, none of the defendants or the employees or agents ever showed Eady the photograph. At the same dinner in New York City, they told Eady that she was approved to appear on season 17 of Real Housewives of Atlanta. However, they also informed her at the same time that they plan to bring Moore back. Instead, they even asked Eady how she would feel about filming with Moore again for the season. And they asked in a manner that unequivocally suggested that it was not a choice for Eady, but that if she wanted to continue filming for season 17, she would have to do so alongside Moore. Eady was horrified and traumatized to learn at this dinner that the defendants were still inclined to employ Moore after Moore had egregiously sexually harassed her, and that they were willing to subject Eady to working with Moore again. Eady was equally horrified and traumatized to learn at this dinner that defendants were actually conditioning Eady's continued employment of season 17 on her working with Moore, her harasser. Each of the participants at the dinner knew that Eady had suffered significant emotional distress from Moore's harassing actions, yet they insisted on Eady appearing on the next season with Moore. Eady was thus faced with the decision to continue employment with Moore or walk away from Atlanta entirely. Okay. On April 5th, episode 6 aired. And episode 6 depicted Eady speaking about the incident, which she would not have done had she not been forced to resume filming and pressured to discuss those topics. Let me say this. I changed my mind. I'm going to change my mind about what I said earlier. I do think they told her that. I believe that. I believe this. I believe that she went to dinner with them, and I believe that they offered her a chance to come back for season 17, but they also told her they were going to employ Kenya. I do believe that now. I changed my mind. I believe it. Because I believe that they felt like dangling that in front of her would be enough for her to shut up and not move forward with any type of legal. I do. I believe it. I changed my mind. I believe it. On or around late May 2025, Eady heard from a fellow castmate that two castmates, Shamia and Kelly, who had previously called Eady a whore, on camera were planning on falsely accusing Eady of having undergone a vaginal rejuvenation surgery with forged medical documentation at the reunion. What? This false accusation was intended to insinuate that Eady was a prostitute. On May 29th of 2025, Eady emailed director Tony Tonage of NBC to express her concerns about the ongoing harassment campaign against her. Eady wrote her email in the context of the forthcoming filming of the reunion episode for season 16, which was to be attended by each of the castmates and was scheduled for June 5th, 2025. Eady wrote, I felt like this was an opportunity to try to silence me and that whatever will take place at the reunion is no longer just a work environment, but a hostile smear campaign. Eady also had a call with several executives where she reiterated her concerns. In response, later that day, Halajan, defendant Truly's business and legal affairs director, who had previously sent defendants anti-discrimination and anti-retaliation policies, sent an email to castmates attaching the anti-violence policy, but not sending the anti-discrimination or anti-retaliation policy. However, defendants did not take any corrective action. June of 2025, Eady for the first time saw a photograph of the poster board displayed and contained the photograph that was purported to be explicit image of herself. She immediately recognized that the woman in the photograph was not her. So it was a year later. Wow. I mean, she said that already. Because of her concerns of the ongoing sexual harassment and the defendant's failure to take corrective action, Eady also declined to appear at the season 16 reunion taped on or around June the 5th. For example, Eady feared the castmates Morton and Farrell would harass her by falsely accusing her of having undergone the surgery, calling her a prostitute. She was scheduled to appear for another taping of Watch What Happens Live in New York City, but felt compelled to decline in light of the aftermath of the airing of the incident at the salon and the ongoing harassment of her. After the taping, which aired live, castmate Drew Sidor saying, Britt, the world wants to know, are you a hoe? Oh, wow. And did you sell it? Producer Andy Cohen looked shocked and responded, okay. Y'all know how Andy does that when he's uncomfortable. He don't know. He's like, okay. On July the 14th of 2025, Eady informed the public that she would not accept defendant's invitation to return, noting, I still have a lot of healing left to do, but you can't heal in the same place that you got sick. Oh, that's true. Later that same day, she further explained the events of this season have devastated me. Eady declined to pursue appearing on season 17 due to defendants effectively conditioning that employment on working with Morgan and due to the devastation she suffered at the hands of defendants following the salon event. The impacts of defendants' sexual harassment have even been widespread and devastating. Had defendants not engaged in the conduct that they engaged in following the salon event, Eady would have accepted the invitation to return for the season and beyond and would have enjoyed all of the financial, reputational, and personal benefits that would have provided. As a result, Eady suffered significant damage to her brand and her earnings potential from endorsements. Although Eady has felt the impact of defendant sexual harassment all over the country, and especially in her home of Atlanta, she has felt a significant impact of the harassment in New York City. As alleged above, certain of the most harassing conduct occurred in person while she was in New York, performing her function as an employee of the defendants. Eady's largest following on social media, which she monetizes, and nearly double that of any other geographical region, including Atlanta, is from people based in New York. Eady thus carefully and specifically protects her image and reputation amongst New York audiences and regularly seeks efforts to promote herself in the New York City area. This is her establishing venue, child. Okay. Her bringing up New York is establishing why she filed this in the Southern District of New York. This is her further establishing jurisdiction, y'all. She's showing that she lost money. Eady in particular interest in doing New York-based work because of its lucrative nature is its ability to expand her reach in her most popular geographical area, and because her husband is from New York City. However, in the aftermath of episode 6, Eady was informed that those venues and brands no longer had an interest because of concerns of her image following the salon event, and Eady thus lost those opportunities. Now that's where you start getting into, she can show that she lost money. In the immediate aftermath of the event, experienced severe depressive moods and anxiety and felt as though she was not going to survive what happened to her. To this day, Eady experiences severe feelings of depression and anxiety as well as insomnia. Eady also fears leaving her house and appearing in public due to the humiliation and trauma she experienced. Eady been unable to receive psychiatric help because she experiences severe anxiety about her privacy being violated and worries that if she attempts to receive medical treatment, her private medical information will be revealed to the public and used to further humiliate her. Eady has lost business opportunities due to her depressive symptoms. She's had difficulty getting out of bed and leaving the house and has therefore missed meetings and other opportunities for business development. She has also suffered reputational harm as a result of her public sexual harassment, which has harmed her personal and business relationships, cost her business opportunities, and resulted in a total loss of privacy in her daily life. And then they just go on and talk about the counts. So what do we think, guys? How did she lose money? She said her only check was Bravo. She said she lost business opportunities, meaning people reached out to her and wanted to work with her, but they not. So here's what I'm going to say. If it is true that they would not allow her to see the pictures for an entire year, that's fucked up. Because if we're saying that once she found out and was able to actually see the picture and realize it wasn't even her, it might have saved a whole lot of bullshit from a whole lot of different. Again, it doesn't change the public's reaction. But if she was able to come out and say, that wasn't even me. You know what I mean? If she's been able to come out and say, that wasn't even me. Right, Cams. I need to see proof that she asked and they wouldn't let her. Again, I'm not saying she's lying. I'm just saying right now that's her version of the story. That's her version of the story, right? But I will say though, if that part is true, that's fucked up. And it would have, and I think had that happened, if she was able to see that picture and prove that's not even me, that would have changed the whole trajectory of a lot of this. You know? No, I don't think it matters that she was out dancing with Portia and all of that, because again, to me that would be the same thing as saying if someone says that they were sexually assaulted and we see them 2 weeks later at the club, that doesn't mean they weren't sexually assaulted. That just means that they were at the club 2 weeks later. You know what I mean? I don't think that's fair to say that either. So did Truly Original make the other women lie and say that it was Britt? Well, it may have looked like Britt. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't see, we've never seen the picture. So we don't know how clear the picture was. We don't know what the picture, like that. You can look at a picture and know whether it's you or not. Somebody else might see a picture of blonde-haired fat girl and be like, that's really me. And I can look at that picture and be like, no, that's not me. That's not me. She has had a lot of surgeries, right? So, yeah, I mean, she might have been able to look at a picture and say, but I will say this, and I agree with you guys. Britt was not a likable person even before this incident happened. We all saw how she came for more from Kenya from day one. Like from that very first episode at Shamia's house, you were gunning for Kenya. Why you were gunning for Kenya, child? I don't know. I don't know if production got in your ear and said go for the OG to get you some camera time. I don't know if you decided to go for the OG and get you some camera time. You said that you were referred by a friend of yours from another franchise. Maybe your friend got in your ear and said, girl, go for the OG and get you some camera time. But it is clear that you were coming for Kenya from day one. that doesn't defend anything that Kenya did. But what I'm saying is, your behavior on the show had a lot to do with why the fans weren't particularly fond of you. Before this incident, and I mean, of course, we knew about the incident long before it aired, but before the incident even aired, because from the first episode, all of us, you can go back and look at our reviews. Most of us on YouTube that reviewed the show was like, what is your issue with Kenya? Like, you were coming for Kenya from the word go. Like, where is this coming from? So yeah, again, because none of us have actually seen the picture, I can't look at the picture and say, oh, come on now. They knew that wasn't her. You know what I mean? Because it could just be, I mean, it could be from the angle, you know? So, but I do find it interesting, though, that production would not let her see it. It doesn't make sense to me that production wouldn't let her see the picture. That makes no sense to me. That makes no sense to me. Right. She might have a tattoo in a certain place that picture showed that wasn't there. I mean, it could be a birthmark. I mean, it could be anything for her to be like, that is not me. And because we've never actually seen the picture, we don't know. Right. And again, remember, a lawsuit doesn't make any of this fact. It makes this her version of what happened. So I will be interested to see if there's a response, what that response is. And like Cam said, if it gets to the stage of discovery where, you know, if it gets to that level of discovery, and why would Portia say she was underage? Because there was a whole thing. I mean, wasn't it a whole thing about her being underage or not being underage? I don't know. That's because that's a whole nother thing too about it being underage. Wait, what kind of pics does Really Be having the Freaknik? Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about what might or might not be down to the Freaknik. Okay. She said she was a teenager, but that doesn't mean she was underage. That's true. That's true. Yeah, honestly, I don't think we got a whole lot of answers. I think some stuff was confirmed when I told you guys that Britt Eady was threatening with a lawsuit. When I told y'all that Kenya was suspended, some things were confirmed, but the reality is it's still her word against Bravo's, and Bravo hasn't said anything yet. But at first, I did not believe that they told her Kenya was coming back to the show, but now I do. I do believe that they had a conversation with her and said, listen, we want to bring you back, but we also want to bring Kenya back. Is that going to be a problem? Like, I feel like they absolutely did do that. I do feel like they did that. Yeah. And if she said that she got wind that Shamia and Kelly were going to team up against her and basically try to say, well, girl, you had vaginal rejuvenation. And in hindsight, it sounds silly, but we know how these reunion goes, y'all. We know that they bring up anything and everything at the reunion, whether they're true or not. We know how these reunions go. So am I wrong to think that she's also being vindictive by filming now to prevent Kenya's return? Oh, by filing now. Well, Kenya ain't coming back. They done. The Real Housewives of Atlanta, they've done filming for the season. Kenya didn't come back. You mean come back for season 18? Because Kenya did not film season 17. They're done filming for that's a wrap. Matter of fact, I think they got finished filming like 2 weeks ago. They're done. I will say this. If, and this is if, if I don't know, I ain't even gonna say that. I'm gonna just say this. Because they didn't invite Kenya to come back. And I don't know if it's because of the threat of the lawsuit or just because they did an investigation and they realized, because remember, I told you guys that Kenya lied initially. According to my sources, initially, when Truly Original did their investigation, Kenya lied about where she got those pictures from. And then when Bravo got involved and Bravo did the investigation, Kenya changed her story. According to what I was told. Allegedly, and according to what I was told. So the reality of the situation is, I just find it interesting that they wouldn't let her see the picture. That's the part. That's the part right there. Because let me tell you what I'm thinking. And I'm sure this is what she's insinuating, right? I am sure that what she's insinuating is what I'm getting ready to say. The fact, if this is true, again, this is just her version of the story. But if this is true, the fact that they would not let her see that picture makes me think that they knew it wasn't her. And they wanted this storyline. And they sacrificed her for the storyline. I don't know that to be true. But that doesn't, nothing else makes sense to me that they wouldn't let her see that picture. So them not letting her see that picture makes me believe that they knew that picture wasn't her, which then brings us back around to, so did everybody else. If production knew the picture wasn't her, then so did everybody else. It does, because it doesn't make sense. If it's me in that picture and you truly believe it's me in that picture, why can't I see the picture? It's me. Why can't I see what was shown? Because the reality is, had she not left early, she would have seen the picture. So why can't I see the picture now? So then the question remains, where can you get the picture? I told y'all what I was told. I told y'all what I was told. Now, y'all don't never want to believe me when I be telling y'all stuff. But I'm going to tell y'all what I was told. I'm going to say it again. I told y'all that somebody gave Kenya those pictures. Now, that's what I was told. I don't know that to be true. Kenya said that she got a private investigator. So I can only go by what Kenya said until somebody say different. But I'm telling y'all, I was told that Kenya don't know where them pictures came from, that somebody gave those pictures to her. and not in the private investigator that she hired. Now, that's what I was told. That don't make it true. I'm just telling you what I was told. No, her name doesn't start with a D. Mm-mm. And it wasn't somebody on the show. It wasn't one of her. It wasn't one of the castmates. It wasn't, it wasn't Drew Sidor. It wasn't Portia. It was somebody outside of the show. But from my and that's the story that allegedly, that's the story that changed. Allegedly, that's the story that Kenya originally told production when they did the investigation, that she hired an investigator, and that's where these pictures came from. But when Bravo actually came in and did their own investigation, allegedly, Kenya fessed up and said, I don't know what these pictures, somebody gave me these pictures. Allegedly. Now, again, I don't know that to be true. I don't know that to be true. But that's what I was told. I hear you, Candace. I hear you. All right, y'all. Well, we're going to wait and see if this just gets resolved in mediation. We'll see if there is a response from Bravo and what they have to say. But again, my biggest takeaway from this question is, why would they not let Brittany see those pictures if that is true? If that is true, why would they not allow her to see the pictures? Now, with that being said, do you think that Bravo will settle to avoid? I think Bravo is always going to. I think they're going to try to settle it, not just to avoid discovery, but just to move on from all of this. Yeah, I absolutely think they're going to settle. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think if they offer her enough money, I think Eady going to take it. I don't think she's interested in justice. I think she's interested in getting paid for her pain. And I'm not saying she's wrong. I ain't saying she's wrong, but I think she's interested in getting paid for her pain. That's what I believe. Yep. So with that being said, we're going, give me about 10 minutes to set it up, but we're going into members only so we can talk about Miss Cookie that has made her debut down to the Real Housewives of Potomac. A lot has come out about Cookie. A lot has been said about Cookie. Some true, some not true. I got a little more shit to add to the pot. And we're going to talk about it, but we're going to do it in members only. So if you are not a member, I'm going to do it on both channels. So if you're a member on either channel, you will see the video. If you are not a member and you want the information, go on and become a member, honey. I'm not doing this as a ploy. I just would prefer to do this in a more intimate setting. That's what I'm going to say about that. So I'll see you guys in about 10 or 15 minutes. Okay. If you want to become a member, the membership, you can just go straight to, I think now you can join either from Android or from I think you can do Android and iPhone from your phone now. But in case that hasn't happened, from your iPhone, you have to go to an actual laptop. But from your Android, you can join from your phone and join the membership. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys in about 10 or 15 minutes. Let me get everything set up. Okay. Peace.